Okay, let me make sure I'm online. Okay. Hello, I'm Alex from A.P. Ink. So today I'm going to be picking up where I left off last time, which I have been working on this kind of 4-quadrant piece of frame with like 3 inserts that can go into it. So I'm hoping to finish this today, so to ink this last portrait and then the frame. So I've got a few references to go off of here. This kind of group photo or still, I think from the Little Mermaid 2 for colors. So that's your version. And then we'll get into the uh, this frame when we actually get to it. Okay, so for colors, Ariel's dress is kind of like a light purple, I think. So I think we'll go light purple for the bodice, the sleeves, and like the inner skirt. And then I'm thinking this pink purple for the collar and the outer skirt. But then I'm not sure if this periwinkle would be better choice. So I think we'll swatch the 3 colors and see which one kind of stands out a bit more. So I think this is light purple, and it is. And then I think this is periwinkle. And then the kind of pink purple color. I don't think I've already drawn Ariel in this dress. Let me look really quick. Just to see if I have drawn her, then maybe I can refer back to the colors. I'm not seeing a reference of that, so I don't think I've done that. I don't have a reference for that for colors. Yeah, okay. So I don't know. See, either one of these would work, the periwinkle or this kind of pinky purple color. But I don't know. I'm tempted to go for the periwinkle color, just because I've already used this light purple and this pink purple color here on this dress. So we'll do those two. Red for Ariel's hair. And then I was using a burgundy color to shade her hair, but that color dried out. So I think maybe I use periwinkle. And then the stone in her earrings or her necklace. Okay, sorry. Um, so yeah, the jewel on her necklace and her crown is like a green color. But I think it would be more like a teal, which I don't think I have that color anymore. Okay, that might work. It's a bit more blue than green, but we'll make it work anyway. And then for skin color for all three of them. We'll go light peach and then sand. So light peach for the base color and then sand to shade it. I think I'll work on one character at a time here. Oh, I need light cerulean blue for all of their... I was gonna say for all of their eyes, but here Eric's eyes look a lot lighter than Ariel and Melody, which I have other references of Ariel, and her eyes look, I thought, a lot lighter. Okay, it's kind of hard to see because it gets kind of blurry, but let me see if I got a different one. This is kind of hard to see too because of the eye shine, but her eyes are a lighter blue, so I don't think I actually have one that's clear enough that you can see her eyes. And maybe with this one, you can see. Let me drop a light on my screen. Okay, I think there's still too much glare. Just that her eyes have been lighter than how they look in this reference. Like you can maybe see Eric's eyes and or eye. It looks a lot lighter than Ariel and Melody. Anyways, I made light cerulean blue for their eyes. Oh, plus I need yellow for her crown and her necklace. So canary yellow. Let me just make sure this periwinkle is gonna work. 'Cause I don't remember. Don't remember what I used last time. It's kind of on the dark side, but I'm gonna go with it anyway. The shadows here and here on Ariel's hair are a bit too subtle. I guess they might show up on camera. light purple again for the bodice, sleeves, and the inner skirt. I'm just thinking about shadow. I wonder... So the light purple and the periwinkle for the dress, but to use this pinky purple to shade both of them. That might be a bit much. Okay. I might hold off on doing the shadow until after, because I'm not sure I really like this. I mean, I do have gray, dark matter gray, but I think that's gonna be a bit much too. Light peach. Let's hope I can finish the base tone for their skin, because this is awful dry. And this brand no longer sells open stack markers, so I can't just run out and get another one without buying an entire set. And then some sand to shade their skin. Okay, so for Melody, her bodice looks maybe a pale pink, and then the outer skirt maybe a fuchsia, and the inner skirt, which you can see the smallest sliver of, maybe a pale rose or a darker pink. And then for Eric and Melody's hair, I think I used ultramarine. this color here, so I'll use that again here. Okay, I have another reference of Melody that actually depicts her wearing the crown and the shell. Let me see if I have it on my computer so I can give it to you. Okay, so I just gave you this reference, so maybe you can hopefully see her necklace and her crown, which the kind of clamshell necklace might be gold along with her crown. So I'm going to use canary yellow, the same color I used on Ariel's jewels. Ultramarine blue for Melody and Eric's hair. Obviously, both Eric and Melody have black hair, but I don't really want to make it look like kind of a black blob. If I had the color, I would use like a maybe a gray color, kind of a darker gray if I still had these. So I'm going to use pastel pink for her bodice and the belt or sash she has. Bright pink for the inner skirt. I'm going to use bright pink to shade her bodice. Which, I mean, this reference, her bodice looks more like cream. I've got to use the colors I've got. So I don't really have a color that matches either of the references for Melody's dress. In the top reference, the outer skirt kind of looks fuchsia, and in the lower reference, it's almost like maybe a dusty rose color. But I've got this coral color that doesn't match at all, but I'm thinking I'm gonna use that. trying to figure what color might work to shade the outer skirt here. Alright. It's hard having this much of a limit for a color palette where none of the colors really match what you're trying to get at. I'm gonna use this pink purple color to shade Melody's outer skirt or over skirt, whatever. I'm at a loss as to how to shade Ariel's dress, so this might ruin it, but I'm going to use the same color to shade Ariel's dress. Actually, I want to see how this coral pink would look. I think this might work better. So I'm going to use coral pink to shade Ariel's dress. Okay, and then for Eric, canary yellow for the detail of his jacket. This band here, his shoulder pad, buttons, the end of his jacket sleeve. And then for his pants, which are black, or in this case, they look like a dark gray. The only dark gray I still have is dark matter gray, which might be a bit dark. It might look like black, but this is what I'm gonna do. Dark matter gray for his pants. And I think maybe for the inside of his sleeve here, oh, I want to do, there's a small gem on the end or tip of Melody's crown. I'm going to use coral pink. It might be kind of hard to see. So with all the gold going on, there's kind of like two different kinds of gold going on. A yellow gold, which Ariel and Melody have, while the gold or suggested gold that Eric has is a bit more like brown gold. I'm gonna try sand. I think that'll work. So to try to get that same kind of two-toned gold that's in the reference. Now here, a really light gray would come in handy to shade Eric's jacket. I'm going to use light cerulean blue and hope that it's far enough away from their eyes that it won't look too like matchy. Okay. So, moving on to the frame. I'm going to try to do this kind of brown or like at least suggested gold tones. So I'm going to take these references away and give you this one. This is kind of the frame that I was trying to kind of embody when I drew this. So we'll pull out the light peach in the sand. I don't know if maybe we'll do a base color of canary yellow. I mean, this almost looks a bit more bronze than gold, but it kind of goes with there is more than kind of one tone of gold, yellow gold versus kind of toned gold. Yeah, okay, so canary yellow for the base color. If I can open the marker. I just had this open. Come on. Okay. Then I think sand is like a light shadow for the parts that I want to kind of stand out. So like the fish, the grass, the corals, and maybe the decorative band on the inner and outer part of the frame. Keep the kind of background just the flat yellow. So I'll do like kind of a two-toned shadow on the fish, the grasses, the coral. It's going to be hard for the two-tone to stand out on this grass or whatever. But sand, and then maybe walnut for the second layer of shadow. And then I've got a white gel pen to try to add some highlight. Just doing the shadow. So pretending that there's a light source here. Maybe say where Eric's head is. I'm going to try to put in kind of a drop shadow where that light won't hit. So if this was actually three-dimensional and this outer border stood out, I'm going to put in a shadow here. I am going to keep most of this just the canary yellow, but to try to make it look like there's depth going on. And I want the coral to look like it's kind of standing out. So again, the flat piece here is flat, and then these things are sitting on top of it. So if there is a light source where Eric's head is, there'd be a drop shadow here. There'd be a bit of a shadow here as well. So this kind of piece of grass or whatever is a bit too small to try to put shadow in, but it would have like cast shadow around it. Just in case you've maybe never heard that term before, cast shadow would be just what it sounds like. There's a light source here where the camera is, so I don't know. Okay, wait, let me find something a bit bigger. So you can see the cast shadow here on the paper for where the light. I don't know if that's really coming across. It looks like it's getting kind of bleached out or whatever. But just that there would be cast shadow. Okay. It's still looking kind of flat, so we're gonna add in the walnut to try to add some deeper shadows. So I'm gonna try to keep this as close to the uh, dimensional parts as possible to try to really emphasize uh, dimension. I'm trying to keep this light. Okay, that's walnut. I want to see if we can bring in another tone for the parts that are actually like three-dimensional. This is sienna brown. Terracotta. I might go terracotta here. Because I want to try to give the parts that are standing out a secondary shadow without having it blend in too much with the walnut. I think maybe this piece of the grass would have a bit more uh, shadow on it. Just adding a bit more shadow where I missed the first pass. So to try to give the um, decorative edges a bit more detail as well. Trying to keep this light so you can still see some of the first layer of shadow. I'm not really getting that. The only thing that doesn't really match is this grass here. Because if I went in too much with the shadow, I think it'll just bleed in and like take over the yellow. But it needs more than what I've done here. Okay, maybe that's better. Okay, the last bit. I want to add a bit of white gel pen that may or may not actually stand out against the yellow. Really quick, I will be right back. I was just thinking, I think the only thing I didn't really put too much thought into is if you refer back to any kind of like old portraits, like Mona Lisa, um actually I think the girl with the pearl earring, let me look her up really quick. Because I'm just thinking background. Mona Lisa actually has some kind of a background. I think the girl with the pearl earring is a bit more toned. So it's just like a flat color, but I don't remember. Yeah. Okay, wait, let me look up the actual painting. Okay, so apparently she's a good subject for people to paint themselves. So I'm not sure which one of these is actual, like the original. Like that one could be it. Maybe that one is it, but the background looks like it could be either black or maybe a dark brown, which I want to say it was actually a really dark brown, but I'm not sure. Versus the Mona Lisa, which, yeah, she's got. So if this one is actually accurate, she's got maybe like a pond or a lake and some kind of plant life in the background. If you all can see that. So I don't know. I for the what I've already done for this project, I do have a couple of backgrounds that I have already done back in May. I've done a painting of Ariel's cave. I did a marker piece of Eric, Eric's boat at night. But I also did a painting of the kind of lagoon that Eric and Ariel uh, take a boat ride through. So I'll either use something that I've already done, or maybe I'll just use a flat background color for behind them. So let me try adding some highlights that might not show up because canary yellow is already so light. Okay, it's subtle and maybe doesn't show up too much for where I've put in the highlight, but let me get rid of the reference here. So Ariel and Eric getting married, Ariel and Eric with their baby, Ariel, Eric, and their young daughter, Melody. And then the frame that I'm going to digitally adjust all of them. I've already edited these two digitally, but that they will fit in here. So this is the last piece I plan on doing for this project. This took a lot more time. I mean, really, this started off as Mermay, and then it just kind of evolved or morphed into a project all of its own. But I hope if you've enjoyed watching any of this, uh, it's enough to get you to either follow me and turn your notifications on here on Twitch, or if you've enjoyed watching afterwards on YouTube, that it's enough to have you subscribe and turn your notifications on there so that you're either notified for the next time I go live or you're notified for the next time I post a video. But I am going to be moving on to something else after this. As much fun as this has been, it's also been extremely exhausting because I've gotten bored so many times and considered just giving up. But I'm going to show you why I have done all this. You'll see in hopefully before the end of the year. But yeah, thank you to anybody who watched or watches. Thank you to anybody who maybe has enjoyed and subscribed, either here on Twitch or on YouTube. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you. Bye.